Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the theme of every single region that's ever been introduced by Pokemon in the mainline series, to be honest with you. So we're going to be going through the whole 9 regions that they've got so far, ranging from Kanto to Paldea, and we're explaining the themes about what the themes are basically, what the regions are based off. It should be quite a nice video. So if you do enjoy these types of videos, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out, and you can unsubscribe anytime. Let's get straight into it. Kicking things off, we've got the Kanto region, and surprisingly, the Kanto region is actually based off a place in Japan called Kanto. Being the first game, these games are probably the hardest ones to find a theme out of, and realistically the one that I could find after doing some research and watching videos is the theme of growing up. Because obviously Pokemon starts at the age of 10, you go off and have your journey at the age of 10, and like I said, it's the first game, so it's quite hard to find, and they probably didn't really put a theme behind it. But like I said, with growing up, you basically see the development of your team and characters, which you do in all the games, but it feels like they have been more of an emphasis on this, especially with the fact that at the end of the game, you start off the fight with a rival, and you end the game with your fight of the rival, versing Blue as the Pokemon champion. I think that's a really good one to put for the first one. Like I said, they probably didn't have a theme, to be honest with you, but that's the best one I could find, to be honest with you. Like I said, watch multiple videos, and the theme of growing up does seem like the one that they wanted to put in there. Like I said, you start off your journey versing the biggest rival you've got, and you end it. You make new rivals. You've got, obviously, Giovanni being the leader of Team Rocket, but it seems that Blue is the person that they wanted to end the video off, or the game off on, and I think it works really well. Moving on over, we got the Johto region, and the Johto region is much more of a traditional region. So the Johto region is actually based off the Kansai region in Japan, which compared to the Kanto region is typically a lot more traditional anyways. Obviously in Kanto you've got Tokyo, which is the capital of Japan, but in the Kansai region, you've got Osaka, which is like the old capital of Japan. It's the traditional side, and it really shows in the games. But not only with this, legends are a massive thing in this region. Obviously, you've got Ho-Oh and the legendary dogs, obviously with Pokemon dying and being revived into these legendary beasts. And then obviously you've got Celebi being in the forest and having his own little shrine, and obviously you've got the event where you go back in time, but then also you have got Unknown and the ruins of Unknown, which ironically the answer is unknown what they are for. But that it seems like the massive theme being traditionalism and legends. You know, like I said, we've got so many legends in this game. Even Lugia is in the game, obviously having the Whirlpool Islands, kind of just being that legendary Pokemon. And it was the first game they actually introduced proper legendaries. Obviously, you've got the legendary trio, the Birds being in Kanto, obviously being legendary Pokemon. But these are the 2 box art legendaries, and they really represent the region very well. Moving on over to Hoenn, and I would probably say that the theme of Hoenn, quite sadly, is natural disaster. Hoenn is based off the Kaishu region of Japan, which is the southernmost islands, and ironically, and probably definitely due to design, Hoenn is the most island-like region apart from Alola, which we'll go on to later on, but it's very well known for having a lot of water, having, you know, it's very island based, which is really cool, obviously with the region of the Kaishu region being Derry Island itself. But when I say natural disaster, in that sense, what I mean is obviously a lot of water, and one of the legendary Pokemon is about flooding. For example, he wants to flood the world. Well, obviously, well, you know, you've got the two evil teams who wants to do different things that are very opposite. You got Team Aqua, who wants to flood the world to kind of expand the Pokemon and the water Pokemon, and you've got Team Magma, who wants to, for example, they want to spread the ground and spread land so people can flourish. And it's very 2 opposite ends of the spectrum, but both of them have to do with natural disaster. Like I said, one to do with flooding, and the other one to do with a volcano and kind of, you know, it's going to cause a lot of death, so natural disaster does seem like a big theme. Further on with this, we got the Delta episode, which is literally a massive asteroid coming down to Earth, including Deoxys in the asteroid, but it's once again a natural disaster. And it definitely seems like that's what they're playing at, because obviously you have Rayquaza, which is the Pokemon in the atmosphere, and you've got Kyogre, which is the Pokemon in the water, and you've got Groudon, which is the Pokemon in the ground. 3 different elements of the Earth kind of all being represented in this game extremely well, and I think it would be very, very dumb to not say that the theme was something to do with these disasters. Moving on over to the Sinnoh region, and this one's actually based in the Hokkaido region of Japan, which is the very north, and it kind of sneaks suit because if you look at Sinnoh on the map, it's the most northern region compared to the other three. Now, the theme of this region is quite honestly mythology and gods, and I think that's very, very easy to see. Quite frankly, the three legendary trios are all gods. You've got the god of time, being Dialga, you've got the god of space, being Palkia, and you've got the god of antimatter, being Giratina. And ruining all those, you've got God Almighty himself, Arceus. But not only just that, you also have Cynthia, and Cynthia being one of the most integral parts of these games is the champion. And here Schmick is kind of revealing the hidden legends behind Sinnoh. And also you've got Pokemon Legends Arceus, which quite literally is a game based off the legends of Arceus and the legends of Sinnoh, or back then it was called Hisui. It's very, very apparent what they wanted to do with this region, and it works so well. Moving on over, we got the Unova region, and this one is based off more specifically New York State, but also some of all of America as well. It's very, very kind of targeted onto the New York State, but certain areas do represent the rest of America itself. And the theme of this one kind of feels like past versus old, or you could say that truth versus idealism. It's very, very much in that sort of area. And the best way to describe this is using the two brothers story that we were introduced back in the Unova region, of two brothers who created the Unova region, and they had a massive legendary dragon type Pokemon helping them to create this, quite frankly, brilliant region. But they did have a disagreement and they went their separate ways, and with the disagreement was so strong that it actually split the Pokemon into two, and the two being Reshiram and Zekrom. You also have Kyurem there as well, kind of the leftovers of what the two other Pokemon kind of turned into. And it's a really, really telling story that kind of shows that you know, it's a really telling story because one brother wanted truth and the other brother wanted idealism, so it kind of shows what the theme is just in that one story. Moving on over, we've got Kalos, which is based off France, and obviously you've got Lumiose City, which is based off Paris, so it's very French. I would say the main theme of Kalos is fashion. Obviously, it's very much known as the fashion region. It's the first game where you have proper customization of your character. I would say that the Kalos region looks very lovely and beautiful in general. Some of the buildings are stunning. Obviously, look at Lumiose City Tower. It's obviously meant to be the Eiffel Tower, but it looks so cool. And you've just got other buildings that just look absolutely stunning as well. But also you do have Fairfruit, which is the fashion Pokemon. And obviously that their whole gimmick being you can change its design and its luck so easily. It's very much apparent of what they want this theme to be. But obviously being based in France and Paris specifically, you have so much to do with fashion in general there as well. It's, you know, Paris being one of the fashion capitals of the world, fashion is definitely what they wanted to go for. But you can also make the argument that kind of sharing the world with everyone is another theme that they got because of the Kaiseki song, I think I said that right, at the end of Pokemon X and Y, which is very much about wanting to share the world with your peers. For example, in the song where the lyric says, "There is a fragile bud of hope blooming in each of our hearts. Don't you take that away, our dreams are meant to be shared. Let it grow, let it live, let us see what it will bring. When we share in our love, we wake a beautiful world." So it's very clear that they were going for something to do with that as well. Quite a good song though. Moving on over, we got the Alola region, which is famously the region that I hate the most, and it's obviously based off Hawaii, which does actually have a really nice sort of gimmick to it, and I don't actually hate the idea of the islands. But with it being based in Hawaii, the theme I'm going to be going for is tropical, and just kind of just tropical and old-fashionedness. I mean, for Christ's sake, it's very, very tropical. The whole islands have coconuts on them, for example. They look like beach resorts. They look like Hawaii, basically. Obviously being based off Hawaii. And it seems very, very, very heavily themed on it. They want you to, they were kind of shoving down your throat. This is based off Hawaii. This is tropical. Enjoy the sun. But with this, it also comes with their old-fashionedness that they do have in these types of regions. As old-fashioned. For example, gyms don't exist in these regions. You don't have gym leaders. You have the the island challenge, sorry, and you have to face the totem Pokemon. I'm sorry, I haven't played the game in ages, but that seems to be the massive theme. Obviously, you do have the professors wanting to introduce gym leaders and the gym challenge to it, but not many people do agree with it. But with the old-fashionedness, you do also see where Team Skull come from. Team Skull are people who have attempted the island challenge before, but have failed and have unfortunately turned into social outcasts and basically go against the whole ideology of the island challenge and the old-fashionedness. And basically that's why they become the bad guys. They want to stop it. Which is quite a sad tale, to be honest with you. It's not really someone wanting to end the world. It's more someone being a bit sad that they're left out. You know, all their friends have completed this island challenge, but they were too crap to actually do it. So now they're kind of fighting the system. It's quite a sad one, but I quite like it. Up and on that region is the Galar region, which is based off the United Kingdom. Yay! I can't tell you how happy I was that the UK were finally getting their own Pokemon games. And when they first came out, I didn't like them. But now I replayed them not too long ago, and I really enjoy these games. So if you do watch my Pokemon tier this video, and you see that I put the game solo down, that was old me. I need to remake that video. But it's quite obvious that the theming of this game is sports, which is very fitting for the UK. Obviously, the gym challenge has been returned to the Pokemon games, and you are introduced to these gyms basically being stadiums full of hundreds and thousands of people, and you're versing in front of a crowd, and it's raw, and it's really good. And the whole thing is based off sports. Even when you fight the gym leaders, you are put in these sporty outfits which have numbers on the backs, much like you would do in a football game based in the UK. However, that does seem to be the main theme that they're going with, but there is obviously a sort of side theme that they've got as well. And that side theme is quite cringely, making friends. Obviously, you go on adventures with Hop. Hop kind of comes with you the whole way. He's not your rival, to be honest with you. He is your friend. There's no way in hell you could convince me that Hop is your rival. But that does not only the example I have got. For example, online players. When you're in the wild areas, you've got people around you, and you're encouraged to talk to these people because you get given gifts. And I'm not saying you're going to make friends through it, but you can most certainly play with your friends, and you can be with your friends whilst you play with them. But also, even in the DLC, you get Cubfu, and you're given Cubfu at level 1, and you've got to train it all the way up to become the best Cubfu it could be. Friendship definitely seems to be a major part of this game. Finishing off, we've got the Paldea region, which is based off the Iberian Peninsula, or in more easier terms of saying, it's based off Spain and Portugal. To be completely honest with you, these games, the rest of them really feel like the place they're based off. Kanto feels like Kanto, Johto feels like the Kasai region is traditionalism, Hoenn feels like the Kishu region in the islands, Sinnoh feels like the Hokkaido region in kind of the fact that it feels very northern. Obviously the northern region of the being the snowy, snow points. You've got Unova, which definitely feels American. It's got a lot of cities, for example. Kalos feels French with the Lumiose City Tower. Alola feels tropical with the islands. Galar feels British with the sports. There is nothing that feels Spanish in the Paldea region. I don't know where they got that from. I think that these games were just a failure. But the theme I can only really go for is school, which is very annoying. No, when these games came out, I just left school, and my favourite Pokemon, my favourite franchise being Pokemon, kind of takes me straight back. Obviously, you've got the school challenge being the main reason you're in the game. The villains are school bullies. The DLC are exchange students. It's an awful theme to give. Christ, these games are bad. I mean, there is a slight theme of treasure hunts. The treasure, you know, you've got Gimmighoul being the treasure Pokemon, and you've got the treasure hunt you do go on, but it's hard to look past the theming of the school. I hate it. I hate it. But what do you think about the themes that I have chosen? Let me know in the comments below. I want you guys to let me know what you think. Have a discussion down below. Apart from that, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.